Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're looking at some of the most amazing facts about World War I, the conflict that changed history and brought down 4 empires. We'll start with, probably, the most mind-blowing fact of them all. The Archduke's prophetic license plate. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife were assassinated on June 28, 1914, the event that precipitated the beginning of the war. In what is an eerie coincidence, the license plate of the car the Archduke was riding when he was assassinated read A111-118, which can also be read like this, A1111-18. The armistice was signed on November 11, 1918. November 11th was also the birthday of Austrian General and Chief of Staff Franz Conrad von Hertzendorf. The Austrian general was so adamant about launching a preemptive war against Serbia that, according to military historian Hugh Strachan, between January 1st, 1913 and January 1st, 1914, he requested a Serbian war from Emperor Franz Joseph not once, not twice, but 25 times. Every time, his requests were denied, and the person mainly responsible for it was a man who not only never wanted a war with Serbia, but also said that he would avoid war with Russia at all costs. That man was Archduke Franz Ferdinand. When Gavrilo Princip killed the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne on June 28, 1914, he killed the one man protecting his country from war. Speaking of June 28th, it's a recurring day worth mentioning. First, June 28, 1389 was the date of the Battle of Kosovo, where Serbia fought the invading Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans won, but the day is remembered for the bravery of the Serbs and is today a Serbian religious and national holiday. Also, on that day in 1876, Serbia declared war on the Ottoman Empire, and in 1881, the Austro-Serbian alliance was signed, turning Serbia into a protectorate state of Austria-Hungary. It was also the Archduke's wedding day in 1900. For many reasons, it was probably the worst day for a visit to Sarajevo. It's worth noting that by the end of World War I, that started over an assassination on this very day, the Serbs will get what they wanted, and the Ottoman Empire came to an end. Last but not least, on June 28, 1919, 5 years to the day of the Archduke's assassination, the Treaty of Versailles was signed. Speaking of the Treaty of Versailles, the treaties following the armistice were named after the town they were signed in. There was no coincidence for the Treaty of Versailles, the primary treaty and the one between the Allied powers and Germany, to be signed where it was. It was the same place and in the same room where, almost 50 years earlier, the German Empire was proclaimed after the end of the Franco-Prussian War. France never forgot the humiliation felt that day and was seething ever since. Instead of a new Congress of Vienna, which could have transformed Europe and consequently the world for the better, we got the Treaty of Versailles. Tanks had genders. When tanks were introduced on the front lines, they existed in 2 types, with machine guns, the females, or with cannons, the males. Eventually, tank technology evolved so much that they started carrying both weapons, that the dual designation became useless. The Battle of the Somme. The greatest single loss of life in the history of the British Army occurred during the Battle of Somme, when the British suffered 60,000 casualties in one day, resulting in around 19,240 deaths and more than 38,000 injured. The bloody battle lasted 5 months, from July 1st to November 18th, 1916. It was also the first time a tank entered the battlefield, on September 15th, 1916. The Battle of Verdun. 60 million shells were fired during what was one of the longest offensives in the war, from February 21st to December 18th, 1916. The magnitude of this battle was such that entire villages were wiped off the map forever. Before we move any further, if you're liking what you're seeing, please consider sharing this episode with someone who might be interested in this topic. Word-of-mouth referrals like this can really help the channel grow. Thank you. Fighting after the armistice was signed. The armistice was signed at 5 a.m. on November 11, 1918, and to take effect 6 hours later. Sadly, some commanders didn't give the order to cease fire, and combat ensued in some places until 11 a.m., resulting in an additional 11,000 casualties. The last one was American Henry Nicholas John Gunther, the last known soldier to die in World War I. He was shot at 10:59 a.m., only 1 minute before the war ended. German soldiers tried to prevent him from approaching, but Gunther ignored the warning and charged ahead against orders until he was gunned down. The casualties remain. People are still dying from weaponry from the war. Even though they are rare events, unearthed grenades or shells have exploded, resulting in fatalities and injuries. Around 600 explosions have been registered in the Ypres area, killing over 300 people and injuring around 500. The red zone in France remains unfit for humans to live or farm, so the French government restricts its use, even 100 years after the end of the war. This region in Verdun, France, is a stark reminder of the colossal devastation of the Great War. Faking age. Many young men faked their age in order to sign up. The youngest to do so was 12-year-old Sidney Lewis, and there were many like him. Thousands of underage boys lied about their age, whether motivated by patriotism or looking for an escape from their tedious lives. The British royal family name and anti-German sentiment. The British royal family used to have a German name, Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. The house was founded in 1826 from a duchy in Thuringia. During the war, anti-German sentiment led to King George V changing the family name to Windsor in 1917. It wasn't an isolated choice, as Belgian King Albert I ditched the family name from Saxe-Coburg-Gotha to House of Belgium in 1920. The 20th century was tragic for this house. In the early part of the 20th century, before the First World War, it was the family of the sovereigns of the United Kingdom, Belgium, Portugal, Bulgaria, and Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. In 1910, the Portuguese king was deposed, and the duchy itself was abolished in 1918. The same would happen in Bulgaria in 1946. The legend of Adrian Carton de Weert. Sir Adrian Carton de Weert was a Belgian-born British officer who fought in the Boer War and both World Wars. He was nicknamed the Unkillable Soldier. Accounts of his military exploits are famous, such as charging ahead despite being shot in the ear and arm after already being shot in the face. During his unbelievable military career, he lost an eye and an arm and sustained multiple injuries. In World War I, he was wounded 8 times, including the skull at the Somme, the hip at Passchendaele, the leg at Cambrai, and the ear at Arras. One of the most gruesome episodes happened when his palm was shot away, as was most of his wrist, and 2 of his fingers were hanging off by a bit of skin. Even his wristwatch had been blown into his wrist. After being denied finger amputation by a doctor, he simply ripped off the 2 hanging fingers. He was awarded with more than 20 decorations and said the following about his experience in the Great War. "Frankly, I enjoyed the war." The indestructible pigeon. A French carrier pigeon named Cher Ami became a war hero when he saved almost 200 American troops. Despite being shot through the breast, losing an eye, and having 1 leg hanging on by just a tendon, Cher Ami managed to fly to deliver a vital message. The pigeon was later awarded the Croix de Guerre, one of France's highest military honors. Buried treasure. While digging trenches in the fields of Flanders, soldiers often found weaponry from the Duke of Wellington's Waterloo campaign of 1815. Even muskets from the War of the Spanish Succession of the 1710s were found. The first and last British casualties. John Henry Parr is believed to be the first British soldier killed in action by enemy fire during the war. In a fateful twist, his grave faces that of George Edwin Ellison, the last British soldier to lose his life during the Great War. They were both killed in Mons, Belgium. Unchanged bedroom. After losing their son in the war, French soldier Hubert Rocheroux's parents decided to leave his bedroom unchanged. They even made a contract so the successive owners of the property would maintain it for 500 years. The youngest soldier at 8 years old. The youngest soldier to fight in World War I was only 8 years old. In 1914, little Monchelor Gavrik lost his family to an Austrian offensive that massacred thousands of civilians. Desperate to get his revenge, he joined the 6th Artillery Division of the Royal Serbian Army. Gavrik fought bravely, and after the war, he was awarded a British scholarship allotted for war orphans. After graduating in 1921, he returned to his hometown and was reunited with his 3 brothers who had survived the war. Gavrik would live until the age of 87. The last verified World War I soldier. The last veteran of World War I was British Navy officer Claude Charles. He served on the battleship Revenge during World War I and returned to fight again in the Second World War. When he passed away in 2011 at the age of 110, he was the sole surviving veteran of both World Wars. The final numbers. One of the deadliest conflicts in history. 35 million casualties, around 15 million dead.